Okay.
All right, guys, I'm here with Andrew and Cormac. How are you?
Yes, good. How are you doing?
Did I massacre your name? Sorry, your first name?
No, you're good. That was perfect on the first try. Doesn't happen often.
All right, so let's jump right in. Again, I want to keep these interviews really short and sweet so we get a ton of value in a really short amount of time. I know that everyone in the group is busy, especially the store owners, but also I guess the consultants. Everyone is busy, so I want to keep it really short so we can give you some value and then move on to getting back to whatever you're doing. So, would you mind introducing yourselves, your background, kind of how you ended up building your current business?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Andrew. This is Cormac from BS & Co. is our company, BEAUCHAMP Sullivan & Company. So for our background, we ended up BS & Co. kind of by learning on the job. We both finished school and we weren't exactly sure what we wanted to do. And we got our first client helping them kind of just with web things. They didn't really know exactly what they needed. And through that, we started to really find a love for more email marketing and paid advertising as well, really helping them grow the actual business, even though while we were there, we did kind of a lot of different things. But that is kind of how we ended up learning on the job and kind of honing in on the things that we really found the most important and that made the biggest difference to the actual business owner's bottom line.
Gotcha. So what's your specialty? You mentioned a couple of things, but would you mind clarifying a little bit? What's your specialty with BS & Co?
Definitely. So right now we are really starting to focus on email marketing only, although we still do offer paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram as well. So those are kind of our two, but we are really starting to hone in on email marketing as the most important part of our business.
So I'm assuming that you also help e-commerce, like store owners, brands?
Yeah, so we only focus on e-commerce. Yeah, sorry for the miscommunication.
Gotcha. That's great. So what kind of results, next question is, what kind of results have you gotten for clients? If you don't have to go into specific numbers or anything like that, but just give us an idea of what you've been able to achieve with your clients.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of email marketing, for the first client that Andrew mentioned, we actually ended up increasing their email marketing revenue by 440% within the first 9 months of working together. More recently, with a CBD company, we took their email marketing from 6% of their Shopify store revenue to around 40%, and ended up doubling their revenue coming from automated flows within 45 days. And kind of the third example that we put together was an Oracle company that we've been working with for about 6 months. And we took their email revenue from around 25% of their Shopify store revenue to 42%. Yeah. And then on the ads side, for actually the same oral care company, we've been working on driving over 250 purchases at below their target cost per acquisition. And then we're currently working on kind of scaling them up right now. With a gourmet charcuterie company, we drove around $70,000 in purchases with $3,500 in spend, so about a 20 return on ad spend. That was for their retargeting ads, which is the only things that we were setting up. And then for a yarn and fiber store, in the last month and a half, we made about $8,500 in sales with a return of 9. So things have been going pretty well recently.
Good. Some good returns right there. So what's the last one? I missed the last one you said.
Oh, so it's a yarn and fiber company. They sell online. So they also sell like looms and weaving material. And so we've driven about 8,500 purchases, or $8,500 worth of purchases in the last month and a half at about a 9.
Month and a half. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and the 20x return on investment on the retargeting is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, so to give a little context on that one, they are a relatively established brand. So they had a lot of organic traffic coming in. So we were just setting up on retargeting, which really worked when there's that recognition in there.
Do you find that a lot of stores are not doing retargeting?
Yeah, I do, which is a really big missed opportunity. It's pretty much the easiest things to set up. There's a lot of ways you can do it pretty easily with like dynamic product ads, and it is just collecting that money that gets left on the table.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, we had one question. I don't remember who posted it. I would have to check on the post again, but one of the members was asking a question when I announced that I was going to interview you guys. And she was asking, are paid Instagram ads and Facebook ads still working, I guess, today? What are better ways to reach your customers more personally, like SMS text or other ways?
Yeah, definitely. So I wrote a pretty long one. Sorry about the noise. Our neighbors are doing construction.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I actually wrote a pretty long answer for this one. So I'm going to kind of read it here. I was going to say Instagram and Facebook ads absolutely still work, but it's not like they used to. It's getting more and more expensive, and customers are getting more and more savvy. So when it comes to advertising, in terms of the rising costs, you really have to know your numbers. You can't kind of just have an idea. You need to know how much things are costing you so you can figure out how much you can actually pay to buy a customer, because essentially that's what you're doing. Also a lot of the times I talk with clients and they really want to make money right up front. They want to be like, getting a 3 or 4 return on cold ads. And in practice, it's often harder than that. And you should be okay with kind of breaking even on the front end so you can profit on the back end through either email marketing or through retargeting and adding in upsells. That's going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to compete in the actual auction. The other thing that I was wanting to touch on is that Facebook ads are really just any other form of marketing. There aren't a lot of hacks and tricks that you can do, especially these days as Facebook's getting smarter and smarter to kind of trick the algorithm to make something that isn't working. So going back to the fundamentals of just what is good marketing, understanding your customers, understanding your offer, understanding, how to serve those customers is really the most important part, and how to communicate with them. And then the last thing that I wanted to say is, like, within Facebook, there's only so many things that you can control. Like your group talks about, there's a lot of things off Facebook that are equally as important. For example, your conversion rate, your upsells, your remarketing efforts, your average order value, you're making your offer better, decreasing your load speed. Those are things that you can control off Facebook that can take a campaign from being unprofitable to profitable. So don't always look at Facebook as not working, and see the other things that you can use.
Good.
That was a long-winded answer, but I hope that helps.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like also the fact that you're saying, you also have to consider the other elements, not just Facebook. It's not Facebook in itself, but Facebook in combination with everything else and your experience in the store and everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we implemented some upsells for one client, and we took campaigns that were underperforming and weren't profitable. And after we added in upsells, they started becoming profitable almost immediately. And then we were able to spend more and also increase how many customers we were bringing in, because we could spend more to buy those customers.
So basically the work that you do with your clients is really tightly kind of knitted with, or makes a lot of sense with UX on the website side, right? You're talking about upsells. Definitely. So it's not just about bringing people, bringing traffic to the store, but it's also what are you going to do with that traffic on the site?
Absolutely. I would say it's almost as important, if not more. If the site works well, then ads and the product, of course, is good. Then ads can run profitably all day long. But if there's something missing, it kind of can make the whole thing fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, what I see is a lot of brands focus more on just bringing people to the site and don't really kind of optimize the experience once they're on the site. So there's a lot of work to be done there as well. Last question I had for you guys is, do you have 3 pieces of advice, or if you have 2 or 4, that's fine, but some advice that you can give for store owners in a group?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first one that we came up with is that once you have customers, it's important to start investing in email marketing or other owned channels such as SMS or Facebook Messenger. Basically, it'll allow you to drive traffic to the places that you want it, so that you can leverage, for example, you can take your email list and import it in Facebook and use that as a retargeting audience. We've seen really good results with that. But the other benefit is that you don't have to rely on all these other channels like Facebook or Instagram or Google and YouTube in order to drive traffic back to your website.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then the other one, we kind of touched on it before. If you have traffic coming to your site, set up retargeting. It'll be the easiest money that you can make. Set it up, let it run. You don't need to spend a couple dollars a day, and it'll make you a great return. The last thing that we want to talk about is talk to your customers. Get to know your customers. They're the best source of information. Interact with them, pull them, ask questions. The better you know the customers, the better you can serve them. This is true not only for just your products in terms of tweaks that you can do to make them better and more appealing, potential upsells or bundles that you can add on to. Also knowing what they will tell you what kind of content they want from you, so that helps bringing in new customers, as well as as you talk to them and get to know their language, you can then leverage that language in your ads and in your emails and know how to communicate with those people. So really talk to your customers, get to know them as much as you can. They are an absolute goldmine of information.
Do you recommend a certain way of doing that, like through surveys or just calling them up, email? What do you recommend for that?
I mean, really all of the above. We've done surveys through emails. We have just reached out to individual customers. We also will when we work with brands, we will typically talk to their customer service reps and, talk to them about common questions that they're seeing or common language patterns or things that constantly come up. This also works really well for retargeting, actually. You can, see what customers are asking or why they're not buying and understand that those are objections for their reasons to not buy, and then use those in your ads and overcome those objections. So so I would say probably the biggest one is customer service and just, emailing them, talking to them. If you have phone numbers, feel free to call a customer. I personally haven't done it, but I've heard of tons of people doing it with a lot of success.
Yeah, I think the other way that we've done it is put in surveys in the post-purchase sequences, asking them like 3 or 4 open-ended questions, and we don't incentivize it with discount codes or gift cards or anything because we want honest answers. The other way that we've done it in the past for clients is also breaking off a segment of people who purchased certain products and then asking them for feedback, for product-specific feedback. So, for example, like asking people who purchased a certain flavor of toothpaste, like what they thought of it and if they would purchase it again or how it could be better.
So it's either product feedback or just user experience feedback, how to improve the store, what could have been better for them.
Yeah, there's also some useful apps. I think Hotjar is one really popular one that can also help you collect data on things like that. And like post-purchase, like you were saying, like even integrated within the Shopify site, I think after people purchase, you can have pop-ups come up.
Yeah, I just posted something about that. You mentioned platforms earlier in your pieces of advice. Do you see one platform outperforming the others right now? Like if a store is, okay, let's say they're a little bit established, they're making money, but they're trying to optimize their, increase the traffic, optimize their sales, which platform should they focus on? I guess it really depends on the industry, but what do you see working really well?
So I mostly only focus on Facebook and Instagram. So my knowledge is a little more limited, but I would say that I think probably the most important thing is understanding what your product is. Is it something that, really needs to be demoed and shown, or, really has that kind of, as people talk about, that wow effect that somebody sees, or you can really show that pain solution kind of thing, then, Facebook is probably a really great one, or Facebook and Instagram or visual platforms where you can really demonstrate those benefits versus something that, people are already searching for and know that they want or know that they need. Then I would definitely say go something along the route of Google where people are looking for it already and you can just be there with what they want. So I really think understanding your customers and how they think about it, as well as understanding your product and kind of where it fits in, is probably the most important thing. I have also been seeing a lot of people having a lot of really great success with Snapchat as it's starting to up and come and become a little more established, is kind of a top of funnel traffic source.
Interesting. Okay, I think that's good advice. Well, listen, I want to keep these really short, and I want to respect your time. So thank you so much for doing this, and I'll see you on the group.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you for your time as well. You have a great rest of your day. See you.
Cheers.
Cheers.